Do you desire to turn your passion into income? Connect with other creative souls who also dance to the beat of their own drum? I'm Marie-Nicole, and I'm devoted to combining beauty, uniqueness, and connection in everyday living experiences. As a creative professional and Dharma coach, I help people connect to the truth of who they are and facilitate them in embodying their uniqueness. It is my hope in this podcast that I inspire you to live your life on your terms and earn your income through being uniquely you. After all, it's the unique thread that we each contribute to the collective tapestry that creates the whole. Earlier last year, I took a singing course called Awaken Healing with the Power of Your Voice by the brothers Corrin. Partly to help me feel more confident when speaking on this platform, as they ran that course around the time I was launching the podcast. And the other reason was because at that time I was reconnecting with my inner child, recalling what lit me up in my childhood and youth. Those who have known me for the last 15, 20 years would probably not even know that I used to love to sing in my youth and was part of a travelling singing group, and that I felt so alive when singing. Before I tell you more about this and my reflections on the power of our voice, I'd like to tell you about a couple of services that I am providing to support business owners. Firstly, one-to-one ad hoc coaching, which is focused in the area of business and wellness, which could be supportive to you in your journey right now, especially if you are feeling a sense of overwhelm, and could do with someone coaching you through the process of what next steps to take to reconnect to what you'd like to focus on, introducing or reintroducing into your life while balancing other commitments in business and life in general. This service is currently being supported by the Rural Woman, and it's $121 for a 1-hour session. It does not require a long-term commitment or a contract that you're locked into. And another option is for support in reducing overwhelm when it comes to your business's digital presence. This is through a government-funded initiative serving micro and small business owners. If you are in New South Wales or the ACT in Australia, have an ABN, run a for-profit micro or small business, even if you're just starting out, for a small fee of $45 plus GST. When you select the All Access option, you receive up to 4 hours of one-to-one coaching focusing specifically on your needs in the digital space. When signing up for the program through my affiliate link, choosing the All Access option, you'll also be supporting the production of this podcast, as I receive a small finder's fee for bringing you into the program. The ad hoc and digital guide coaching options are great ways to get a taste of what working with a coach can do to help elevate you out of a dip and to help you up to that next peak in your business journey, focusing specifically on your needs, wants and desires. To book an ad hoc session or register for the Digital Solutions program, simply click on the links provided in the show notes. And now back to today's episode topic of the power of your voice. After having my first son, I developed a thyroid condition, and over the next 20 plus years, for a number of reasons, I closed off that side of my self-expression and only ever sang in group settings where an anthem was being sung or something to the like of that. In the privacy of my own home, I really only sang silly songs to my children that I made up. And with significant shifts taking place in my personal life, leading me to start a journey of deep transformation, a part of which was connecting back to the essence of who I am at my core, I was really drawn to reigniting the power of my voice. Not just through singing, but also through speaking, which is why I started this podcast in the first place and took that course. Doing this was not my intention to sing to perform, but rather to sing to heal. The frequency of sounds are so powerful in our personal healing journeys. And I love listening to music created with the intention of taking listeners on a sound healing journey to help set the tone and texture of our life's experience. And I would often start my days playing tracks that were created for this very reason. But I felt this real pull towards going deeper within, releasing trapped emotions and using the power of my own vibration and sound. Aside from the singing course, I also did an online workshop where the focus was on creating mantras to drum and sing to. And this was with Larissa Gosler. Again, it was for healing purposes, not performance, using the vibration of our voice along with the beat of a drum to move trapped emotions and to open up channels. The drum has played an important role in reopening my heart center, which I closed off for self-preservation reasons, but today I want to focus on the power of our voice and the fear many of us have about being judged when we sing. I know I'm not alone in this, especially in Western culture. Traditional and ancient cultures seem to incorporate singing in their everyday living experiences as well as a part of their healing practices. So what is it that led our culture to stray off this path? I think it has more to say about the culture of otherness rather than inclusivity. And if we could see the value in difference rather than the expectation that we all need to be the same or we all need to be exceptional in order to be accepted, that perhaps we'd simply value the connection rather than the ranking. The shift in energy in a room when a group sings together, the shift in energy within an individual when they sing, the shift in our mood, perspective, that elevated state we find ourselves in. If you have pets, you'll notice when you sing, they'll draw nearer to you, even join you. I have one dog that loves to sing alongside of me. The vibration is uplifting, even if it's off key and even if you hit the wrong note. It's not about being the best, it's about being alive and the celebration of that aliveness through resonance and frequency. I say all this and yet I too still feel myself contract at the thought of being heard singing, especially if I make a so-called mistake. But I feel so good afterwards that I feel like I can conquer all of my fears. When we dig deeper into what it is that holds us back from fully expressing ourselves, not just in the way of singing, but speaking our truth, sharing our perspective, disagreeing without trying to be controversial. Just because we're seeing things from another point of view, or perhaps we fear to speak because we can't quite formulate the right words, or our choice of words according to someone else is not the best choice of words for that situation. As someone who grew up with parents who had English as their second language, I'm reminded of a story they shared of communicating with other migrants to this country who spoke very little English at the time, and the ways in which they communicated and came to understand each other. They even helped them learn to speak English, which is quite funny and beautiful at the same time because these were migrants speaking English as their second language, teaching others who barely spoke English. And so if you listen to episode 44, titled, Was It Actually Failing?, you'd know that my parents did not get past grade 6 or year 10 in their education, so their understanding of English was very limited from that perspective. So you can imagine how watered down the education of English that these two newcomers to the country received. It was more about being introduced to the bare essentials, back to the absolute basics to meet their basic and essential needs. I say all this to express that the judgment we fear receiving is potentially based more on our own self-judgment. The power of our voice is in our vibration, and while some may speak a language more fluently or eloquently than others, I want you to think for a moment about someone you've met who's eloquent in their speech, but the energy they disperse hits you at a frequency that you'd rather not experience on a regular basis. Which brings me back to the power of our voice. It can heal and it can hurt. The words are a part of that, yes, but the vibration, the expression of our essence, the resonance of sound is where the real power lies. Don't let fear of judgment hold you back from expressing yourself through words or sound. While not all will appreciate your expression, there will be those who are ever so grateful for the fact that you're sharing your voice. The same can be said for business. We cannot be everything to everyone, but we can be the something that someone really needed at the time. And we may never know just how impactful the power of our voice is. If we do not express ourselves, how will we ever know? Of course, sometimes silence is the best option, letting the energy of your aura speak without even opening your mouth. But that's not the topic of today's episode. It's about the power of our voice. While there can be power in silence, not expressing ourselves vocally, then expecting others to know what we need, want, desire, doesn't really serve anyone. Especially if we then resent the results of another's actions or inaction, and yet we've not actually shared our perspective, instead expecting they should just know our preference or wishes. The same can be said for tuning into what is being expressed by another, when they share their voice, perspective, wants, desires that do not align with ours. That does not mean they should not express theirs. It may sound like I'm coming from the perspective of being all about love and light and not seeing the value in contrast. I don't believe that though, as difficult as some things may be to hear or have expressed to us, sometimes this is a medicine we need to receive via the expression of someone else's voice to help us break through a barrier, overcome an obstacle or limiting belief. What led me to reactivating my connection to the power of my voice was not a desired experience, but it was certainly an impactful one, and an opportunity to go within and connect with what it was that was activated inside of me and why, which then led me to preparing for an expression of self that I may not have reached in this time frame had I not been through that experience. Who knows, one day in the not too distant future, I may overcome my fear of singing in public. And if and when I do, I may once again enjoy expressing myself in that way in front of others and use the skills and learnings I've acquired in overcoming my own developed fears to help others overcome theirs. This is a wait and see scenario, a scenario that reminds me of when we had ducks. They would lay their eggs, tend to the nest with so much dedication, adding down to the nest to keep the eggs at just the right temperature, hardly ever leaving the nest until the external temperature was warm enough for their eggs to sustain the right level of warmth, while they raced to the pond and took a dip and refreshed themselves, and they grabbed a bit to eat of something that they would not normally be able to reach from the nest, and then returned to sit patiently and wait, turning the eggs to ensure that an even incubation was providing the best conditions to support the magic that was taking inside that shell. They did not peck at the egg to check the progress. They tended, nurtured, and waited for that hatchling to do what it needed to from the inside. The pecking took place from within, when it was ready. So while I incubate the magic taking place inside of me, I'd like to encourage you to consider reconnecting with the power of your voice too. Even if it's just humming a tune, singing a prayer or a mantra to a beat or a rhythm that resonates with you. Practices like this performed in the lead up to the need to have an uncomfortable conversation, attending a meeting you're dreading, or to simply turn up to a gathering when you're feeling inadequate. Singing yourself into a higher vibration state can help take you out of your head and send a surge of energy through your entire body that radiates out of you as you approach this situation. And it could also mean that instead of contracting, you not only express your truth more easily, but it could lead you to sending out a protective shield of energy, supporting you in not absorbing anything that doesn't serve you in that situation. So try it for yourself. And when you do, if you notice a shift in your experience, do reach out and let me know. DM me through Instagram or send me an email. I'd love to hear how reconnecting to the power of your voice has shifted things for you. And if you're interested in finding out more about the offerings from the Brothers Corrin or Larissa Goslar, you'll find links to their websites in the show notes. I'm not receiving anything from them for sharing these links with you. I am simply doing this because working with their teachings has been so impactful for me. And with my desire being to support others in expressing their unique gifts and contributing that to the collective, then anything that could help you in doing so is what I want to share. Of course, I too need to earn a living to enable me to sustain my own offerings to the collective, which is why I've also shared the options of working with me as a digital guide and coach. And when the day comes to support you through your voice practice and music making, you can be sure I'll be here telling you about that too. So until next week, enjoy singing your heart out, and feeling the aliveness of life force energy surging through your whole body instrument. Thank you so much for your time. I know how valuable it is, and I hope you got value out of listening to this podcast. If you are looking for a coach to support and guide you through your own unique journey of creating a life you love, then reach out for a connection call. And if you'd like to connect with other creative souls in person by joining us at a workshop, a retreat, or to book a unique shopping experience here at Creators Nest, I run those by appointment. So check out the website for more details. The link is in the show notes. Oh, and please leave a review. I'd love to hear any insights or inspirations that were activated in you from this podcast. And I look forward to drumming, dancing, or soaring alongside of you.